We tend to think of power in terms of strength and might, in which we automatically think of as the ability to be stronger, bigger, better than others. It's no surprise then that when we think of the power of God, we tend to think in similar terms. God is invincible, able to defeat and crush every enemy, a bit like some kind of celestial superhero. If the power of God is the ability to go bigger, better, and further than anyone else, then it's not much of a stretch to imagine that the power of the Holy Spirit is designed to enable us to do likewise. And I believe it's important for us to keep the fact that the Holy Spirit is a person in mind. We need to keep that in mind, or else we may tend to forget just how we ended up not knowing that much about it, like we have in the past. We live in a tough and competitive world, a world that often seems like the weak and the powerless are left behind, and only the strong survive. We need every bit of help we can get to succeed and advance in life. I guess it's only natural that we look to God to help us in just this kind of way. Let me spell something out to you. By our way of looking at things, our kind of human measure, Jesus was a failure. That is, as we see it, until God raised him from the dead. He was poor, he was rejected by his community, he was frowned on and vilified by religious authorities, and ultimately he was condemned and put to a shameful criminal's death. The person we're talking about here is the Son of God, the one who eternally coexisted with the Father, the one whose hands flung stars into space, the one to whom all creation is subject and must bow down. He had at his disposal unprecedented power. Surely, if anyone could ever have succeeded their way to victory, it would have been Jesus. Yet he chose the way of humiliation, self-denial, and self-sacrifice. And precisely because he chose that way, God handed him all authority in heaven and in earth. How was Jesus able to do this? To set aside his divine omnipotence and take on the form of a servant? The answer is simple. It was the power of the Holy Spirit that gave him the strength, the courage, and the ability to lay down his life for the world. He relied on the Spirit to get him through. When we call on the power of the Spirit, we have in mind our goals, influence, growth, and success. We are really asking the Spirit to help us beat the world at its own game. To be perfectly honest, I don't need the power of the Spirit to seek after influence, growth, status, and acclaim. I can do all that on my own. I just need to get on the world's train and apply some spiritual sounding words to the journey to make it sound divinely blessed. But when it comes to trying not to be a selfish pig, when it comes to putting others before myself, surrendering my rights and letting others get ahead of me and let them take the applause, I desperately need the power of the Holy Spirit to help with that. The disciples received the power of the Spirit at Pentecost. Some of them would go on to do amazing supernatural things. All of them would follow Jesus in laying down their lives in loving obedience and self-sacrifice. That, of course, is what the Spirit empowered them to do. Let's not make the mistake of thinking the Spirit will help us to be like the world. Except now we want to be on some super steroid or something. If you're out for fame, influence, and success, go for it. But don't try to claim it's the Spirit of Jesus that's helping you get to that level. Show me humiliation, servitude, self-sacrifice. I'll show you the Holy Spirit at work.